Welcome to the Conscious Radio Network's YouTube channel. Become enlightened, have fun, and tell all your friends and family to share with everyone they know. You can find us on Facebook and stay up to date on our Facebook group, or find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Our podcasts can be found on Libsyn, iHeart, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. Most of all, remember to go to our official website at consciousradionetwork.com for podcasts, hosts, future shows, and scheduling. We also want to welcome our international audience. Don't stop now. Enjoy the community. Subscribe today.
This is the Conscious Radio Network.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you might be on this spaceship we call Earth. Welcome to Conscious Radio Network series, The Seance. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Paul Meckes. If this is your first time watching, please click subscribe, like, share, comment, and also follow wherever you listen to your podcast. Unveiling the power of the quantum field. An absolute honor. Returning guest today, founder of Depth Healing Technology, has been studying and training in his multidisciplined crafts of health, quantum science, personal development, consciousness and brain research, classical Japanese sword, Zen, Aikido, oneness and Diksha, energy psychologies, brain reprogramming, military science, quantum biology, ecosystems, and spiritual mystical experiences. For over 51 years, his depth healing process uses cutting-edge quantum physics to help individuals remove cognitive dissonance from their subconscious minds. Let's welcome back to the seance, Dr. Rex Kruger. Welcome back, brother. How you doing?
Very well, Sam. Very happy to be here. How about yourself?
I am happy to be here with you and share some more time with the quantum field, because we had got quite a bit of reactions from our last show, and wanted to touch a little bit into not exactly where we touched off or touch back into where we left off, but kind of give a little bit more of an expanse, a quantum expanse on what we were talking about last time.
Okay.
So if you'd like to give a quick, brief recap on introducing a little bit of depth healing technology.
Okay, so there's a new branch of science, folks, that has been recognized now, and it's called energy psychologies. And depth healing is one of the strongest in existence for many different reasons. Each type, it depends on how deep they can go. So when I created depth healing, the idea is to go 100%. I can't go 100%, but I can go about 95, 98%, depending on the person. And what I mean deep, I mean into their subconscious and into their actual reality. Because, the body is just an avatar. Yeah. So we start with that avatar, okay? The easiest way to understand us is to realize that we're basically a biocomputer, and the real you is contiguous with the field, but what we think of as us, this is a biocomputer, and it functions very much just like a regular computer. So when you look at a laptop, it has software. And the software is all of the data contained in that computer, and that is equivalent with your subconscious mind. And then the Google Cloud, which is a morphic field, the computer can tie into the Google Cloud and vice versa. That's a feed forward, feed backward system. Just like the actual you is a feed forward, feed backward system. Your avatar, your body temple, picks up information and experiences, and that's how the higher self learns and experiences stuff, and then it feeds down It's a feed forward, feed backward system.
Yeah.
What healing does is I use it's frequency science, frequency technology. And there are basically two kinds of frequencies, destructive and constructive interference waves. So what I do is you have a problem, doesn't matter what kind of a problem, a health problem, a financial problem, any kind of problem. When you're working on the computer and there's all the files, which is the subconscious, you can do a search or you can hit a key. And when you hit the key, a program or data shows up.
Yeah.
You go in the search, you press one letter or two letters, and a whole bunch of stuff comes up. So that's your life. You look out the window and you see a guy, and that guy's face is similar to somebody that maybe hurt you a long time ago, and it presses the key and the file comes up.
Hmm.
When the file shows up, it initiates biology, physiology. And you have emotions or you have a charge or you have a trigger. All I do, I have a number of different sciences. So I have a kinesiological ability to surgically search your field, your subconscious. I'll find that trigger. And then I press the delete button. I press the delete button with destructive interference waves, and it's gone. If it's real great big complex, I have to disassemble it.
Yeah.
Usually it's always a disassembling stage by stage. And then after I hit the delete button, I send in the constructive interference waves. What does that do? That builds up your system, heals your body, raises your consciousness. The key is to raise your consciousness. Consciousness is not the same as education. You can have the smartest people in the world, and there is unconscious as a dead fish. Nothing there. Just data. That's all.
Yeah.
So, you can think of those kind of people like a really fancy computer, but the computer isn't conscious. It's just a computer. So that's what I'm doing is I'm going in, deleting the things that cause you stress, disease, and anything. It has to come from the field.
Yeah.
Nothing comes from matter because matter is only the field. That everything is just energy,
Mm-hmm.
operates in different strata. It's dependent on the morphic field that it belongs to. So an ant is in a specific morphic field that's very different from a bird. And the bird is in his morphic field. The giant morphic fields has its own kind of consciousness because it's made from the number. And then the number, that emergent property of consciousness informs and controls and protects that species. And
Yeah.
we're the same way. It's just that we have access to so much.
Yeah.
And the bird only has what the bird is able to access.
Yeah. It's different spheres and frequencies of consciousnesses out there or fields
That's right.
out there yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now
That's exactly.
Now when you said when you say and using some of the nomenclature like avatar and like the cloud and stuff like that, that kind of begs the question of the simulation theory that this is all just a simulation. Does this work that you do kind of what is your thought on the simulation theory and the work that you do?
Well, to quote Shriyama Bhagavan, let's say I'll test how correct the simulation theory is. Okay, so Let's ask the field right now, how accurate is that? So on a scale of 0 to 10, if 10 means 100% correct, and we ask the question, is the simulation theory of the world and the universe correct? So we get a yes. How correct is it? How complete is that? 0, 1, 2. It's only a 3 out of 10. So there's a whole lot more to what's going on than that theory. But that's a good theory. What they're trying to do there, since we know everything is actually just fields, like when they look at an atom now,
Yeah.
they used to think an atom was a thing. It's not. It looks like a little tornado, and it's just swirling. It's like a field of influence.
Yeah.
So when you're looking outside, like right when I look out this door here, I'm looking at the mountains, the trees, and everything. And of course, our body, if I go like that, my hand doesn't go through it. So what they're trying to, but they know it's energy. So they're trying to figure out a way to say it's here, but it isn't here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's sort of like an illusion. Now, the great avatar Bhagavan says it is all an illusion. But even the illusion, see, it all depends on the level of consciousness in the strata.
Yeah.
So how would I explain that? Level one enlightenment means if a person is enlightened, like Eckhart Tolle is enlightened, their inner dialogue stops. Inner dialogue is stopped. And then you know that a person is enlightened. And then each person, there is no such thing. The universe does not duplicate anything. Even Planckian spherical units, every single one of them is absolutely unique. So all enlightenments are unique. But the level one commonality is their inner dialogue has stopped. Now, the strata goes up until it's completely unified with all that is. That's that, but nobody knows how many strata that is, eh?
Yeah.
Even the gods, when you look at the great beings, they all have their own specialties, and there's a whole hierarchy there. They have their specialties and their certain abilities. A light being, a lot of people nowadays can see, especially ladies, can see the light beings. Light beings can only be in one place at one time. What Bhagavan calls a space being means they're omnipresent, so they can be everywhere at the same time. Nothing is all powerful.
Yeah.
Even universal intelligence, which is the biggest of all the realities, is the big gigantic umbrella. It is reactive and like programmable by us. You can approach a universal intelligence, and universal intelligence can be influenced. That's how they're running the world now.
Mm-hmm.
The collective, the vast majority of the collective are terrified of their little silly virus. So they're all wearing their little masks, and they're all scared to death, and they all obey. And what happens is that's a morphic field. That's a huge collective field. So all universal intelligence ever says is okay. It doesn't say anything else. It just says okay.
Yeah.
So if everybody is full of hate and they want war, universal intelligence says okay. If everyone wanted love and peace, universal intelligence says okay. The divine is a population of great beings that lives inside universal intelligence. The dark side is another population. It lives inside universal intelligence. And then Akashic Records is the big giant super being that is like the bank account. He's the accountant.
Yeah.
So everything that happens, even if a Planckian spherical unit moves from left to right, it's recorded. And there's no punishment or anything. It's just a balancing act. But nothing is ever not recorded and measured through the Akashic records.
Wow.
Did I answer the question or did I
Yeah.
lose everybody?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
you didn't lose me.
Okay.
I soaked that up like a sponge. Now, if
That's
anybody
pretty
has got
cool
any
stuff.
questions later, then we can answer those later.
Great.
Now, do you think everything is predetermined? That the future is predetermined, or do we have some sort of control over that?
It's the answer to all of those kinds of questions is both. So you have 10 programs that are controlling us completely. The 10 programs are number one and number two programs are activated or pulled into us through resonance at the moment of conception. So it's the moment of conception.
Mm-hmm.
So first one is past lives. Second one is genetic inheritance. Not genetics like you think regular science. That's only 50%. The other, it goes back on your line on dad's side and mom's side, 6 generations each side. And that's where the karmic debts come in and all kinds of things can come in that can smash the hell out of you while you're alive here because it comes to you.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't answered and it comes to you, that's a real big deal. The third program is where I specialize. I specialize third, fourth, and fifth programs. Third program is conception in the womb through gestation, the birth process, and the first 6 hours after you're born. First 6 hours is enormous. And then the fourth program is from the end of those first 6 hours until the end of age 6.
Mm.
And then fifth program starts age 7 when the frontal cortex activates until whatever age you are now.
Yeah.
The sixth program is the solar system. And that's where if you can get a good astrologer, and if you want a good astrologer, the greatest master I'm aware of in the world is Joshua Siegel. I have never known Joshua Siegel to make a single mistake ever. He's peerless. He's a master of Vedic astrology, and he is an absolute world-class master of numerology. I highly recommend him. I counsel with him myself about once every 3 months, and I have for the last few years. He's never been wrong, ever.
Wow.
So that is the sixth program. It's massive. And then the seventh program is, sixth program is the global collective. Seventh program is the solar system.
All right.
Eighth program is the galactic, and the ninth is the universal. And then there is a 10th program, and that is the other realms. Bhagavan said the other realms are so much bigger than the regular universe we think of. It would be like comparing the earth to a baseball. Science has never found the other realms. That's where the heavens are. That's the other we call lokas in India. They call it a loka. Seven levels of heaven. That's in the other realms.
Huh.
So those things control us, right? Now, the trick is the programs can be changed. My programs were completely changed. At least my fifth program was changed to the extent in 2014 where I left North America and moved here. And now I have all of my work by grace. So I lived for all the way to 2014. I moved here in 2015. All all kinds of stuff. You heard my bio. I've got all kinds of stuff, but I never, ever, ever had any money or success with anything to do with business or money at all, ever, never. And now is 100% the opposite way. So that was rewritten. All of the programming in my mind for lack and failure and everything was removed. And then I got divorced, left there, and now I am serving people all over the world. That was all written for me. So the who rewrites it? That kind of thing. You need the divine.
Yeah.
What do I do? I prepare you and remove from you anything blocking grace. Your divine, for every human being you see, the divine is trying to always bring grace, 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 grace. Because all they are is love. There isn't any judgment or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But we have so much what Dr. Sumorta calls muck in your field. It's just like a wall of lead.
Yeah.
It's supported by negative beliefs and fears and programming and traumas, and the divine cannot get through that. You know, Jesus, when Jesus came, he's very powerful, but he did not change the Romans, and they killed him. He could have done it, but he doesn't do it because the divine will not interfere. It will not overcome or force a human being against their will. That's why consciousness, if consciousness rises, you automatically connect with the divine more and more and more and more. The lower the consciousness, the gap of communication or grace becomes huge. Did I answer that question? So it's a 50-50. 50-50. It's always both. It's like that old question, who came first, the chicken or the egg? It's a stupid question.
Both.
Yeah, it's always like that. It's always like that.
Yeah.
But you have to have a certain degree of consciousness to be able to see that.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you feel that we have do we truly have free will, or
No.
is that something that is kind of
The only people that where they're free, if you see a fully enlightened person with permanent enlightenment, they're free because the inner dialogue has stopped. Otherwise, the inner dialogue is controlling you.
Mm.
Yeah, no, it's I can my level now, I can see my inner dialogue, and I want it to be stopped so much.
Yeah.
I'm so sick and tired of it. It's just ludicrous.
Yeah.
The ego game, there are a number of ego games, and the one with me is dominance because I was oppressed as a little kid.
Yeah.
And that's why I became a martial artist and all that, because I was scared when I was a little boy. So I wanted to beat the hell out of anybody that was going to hurt me.
Oh yeah.
And so if I can drive down the road, right? So like I told you at the beginning, I see something and then it starts a little story.
Mm-hmm.
So the story happened maybe 30, 40 years ago, and it can be anything. It could be a scene from a funny movie, or it can be like I was getting showered for this show, and I couldn't see where it came from, but all of a sudden, in my inner dialogue, I was running a scene from Star Wars. And then I saw it and I started laughing. I said, I don't know where the hell that came from, but what triggered that, I have no idea. But usually I can see where it came from. And then what they do, the inner dialogue is really funny. It's all entangled.
Yeah.
So a thought can come, or which will link to a feeling, which will link to another story. And the beauty of it is, if you look at it, it'll stop.
Oh, observing it.
That's what the basis of real meditation is.
Yeah.
They watch the mind, because mind is a field. You
Mhm.
don't have a mind. There is a mind. And then the brain is an antenna array, and the thought realm,
Mhm.
it goes in here and out the back. Same plane from here. And if you feel your back of your head right at the center, just where the neck
Yeah.
meets the skull, and it goes out like that.
Huh.
And if you think that that's wild, what do you think you're looking at right now, folks? All of this information, when you're looking at these cameras or you're listening to my voice, that's all just information in an electromagnetic field being moved on a carrier wave. The
Yeah.
carrier wave is the frequency. The computer is tuned so it can receive it. That's all this is. That's what I do with depth healing. That's all that life is.
Mhm.
It's all energy, carrier waves, frequent, and then the information travels on the carrier wave.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Make sense?
yeah, and for years I have been explaining sort of this theory too. Even with the when I was doing some speeches and some workshops, especially with ION's Institute of Noetic Science.
Oh,
I had
wow.
mentioned and it was like a 4 hour lecture, but I had pointed out in a portion of it that there's no such thing as reality, especially of general reality, because
Yeah.
and what are your thought that if you think of the same way, is
Mm-hmm.
everybody is perceiving things differently. I don't see the same things you do. And
Mm-hmm.
other people around me don't hear. Our perception of things, our senses are picking up these frequencies differently. So
Yep.
reality is not real in and of a sense.
Yeah. Bhagavan said there's no ultimate truth.
Mm.
Folks, I'm in 100 million% agreement with him. And the fact is, all of science, not all of science. There's a lot of morons that are still hanging on
Yeah.
in the science world, but the higher level peer review kind of informed science has accepted that, because that's a fact. And how is it that he and I will see something, we look at the same thing differently?
Mhm.
All it is that subconscious database. You see, you absorb that database for 6 years. By the time at 40 million bits of information per second, it comes out to about 10 quadrillion bits of information of data. That's the reference system. So when I look at something or I hear something, and see, it's qualified by my level of consciousness,
Yeah.
it references through the subconscious database. What is that? Is that good or bad? Is it dangerous? Is it healthy? What is that? Do I like it? Do I not like it?
Hmm.
All those things are immediately handled,
Yeah.
but it has to use that software. Pardon me. So the software of a kid that was raised in the Amazon jungle is completely different from a kid raised in Manhattan, New York.
Mm.
You see what a kid raised in the ghetto is different than a kid when they become grown up, than a person who is raised in a multi-millionaire lifestyle.
Yeah.
A kid that's raised in a loving family has a very different database from something where the father beats the hell out of him every day and
Hmm.
smashes his wife in the face with his fist. So all the data is completely different. So when they look at their world,
Hmm.
it seems like it's one world, but No, it's not at
Yeah.
all.
And that kind of also brings to my mind that, it's these experiences, our environment and our experiences that make us who we are. And hence that term or cliche that if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger.
Yeah, you see, the reason for that is you can always use this mantra, I am that.
Mm.
Because you see, one of the commonalities for a level of enlightenment is the seer, the seeing, and seeing is one,
Mm.
which is the truth.
Yeah.
And I have experienced this directly myself. So the sound, hearing, and the hearer are only one. See, everything is only one. Now, if you think of the Big Bang, you have one, which went through a period of the one becomes the many,
Mm-hmm.
and then now, for some of us, and certainly not all of us, the many is becoming the one. There's a return, and
Yeah.
that is the awakening. And it's a very beautiful thing. When I went into that state was in 1991. It changed the course of my life. And when you're in that state, what happens is the senses are not at the same time. That's the illusion created by the speed of your brain.
Yeah.
When the brain is slowed down, the senses it makes a little tiny gap. So when you're listening, you're only listening. There is no other sense whatsoever. And then when you look, it's only the seeing. So what happens is because of when the brain is fast, it gives you the sense of a separate self.
Mm.
You're not separate from anything at all, but it seems like that.
Yeah.
And if the enlightenment is if the brain is altered, brain has to be altered. When it's given those little gaps, you go into a state of sacred silence, sacred stillness, sacred peace, and all fear vanishes. I experience it. There's no fear of death whatsoever. There isn't any future and there isn't any past, and you're completely free.
Mm.
And anything you look at, it's you completely. And you are it is you.
Yeah. Being in the
So,
absolute moment.
yep, and it's unbelievable. It's very, very, very beautiful. And
Wow.
now the divine has fully enlightened many thousands of people. The number is growing massively, which is really wonderful.
Yeah.
So that's what the divine is doing now,
Huh.
big time.
Now, do you think there is a shift that is happening in consciousness? Do you think we're we're going through a new age of consciousness, that there's an evolution happening? Because a lot of people are saying it, a lot of people are feeling it. There's a change, especially now that we're recording this. There are massive coronal mass ejections from the sun that are happening as well. But
I
aside from
haven't been
that,
following that for a number of years now. I
yeah,
used to follow that all the time. Can I be absolutely honest with you?
yeah, absolutely,
Okay, that's the way I like to do stuff.
yeah,
So here's the trick with that, folks. Yes, there is a rising of consciousness, and the divine is working hard and fast to make it happen for us, so that we don't die. We're we're that close. We're on the razor edge of complete annihilation. Okay,
Wow.
but understand that not just from one thing, but from every angle there is. Now, when they say there's a rising of consciousness, yes, but only in pockets of morphic field groups of a fairly limited size.
Mm.
So within the group, the mistake that most of them make is they see the consciousness rising, but it's because that's their social set.
Yeah.
If you go outside and you see everybody wearing a mask and they have the consciousness of a dead fish, okay? Or
Yeah.
there's enough research and enough world-class scientists that have been, explaining the nonsense, but it doesn't matter if they have 16 PhDs, folks. There's no consciousness at all.
Mm-hmm.
You come over here to Asia, and everybody is in complete compliance, which means the morphic field here, you know how many people all of Asia amounts to? That's a segment of the global collective consciousness that's massive, massive, and it's absolutely a zero consciousness.
Yeah.
Not now. I've been here 9 years. I've never seen anything like it. Now, you look at Monsanto, you look at McDonald's, you look at the fact that the entire world is blanketed in 5G towers.
Oof.
Do you
Yeah.
know how much organization it takes to blanket the construction of, let's say, just New York City
Mm-hmm.
in but 5G towers? Do you know the organization, the amount of money? Do you know what it takes to bribe all of the hospitals of North America and through Europe so that they will accept $50,000 if they say somebody died of COVID when they actually were killed in a car accident? Do you
Mm-hmm.
know what it takes to commandeer all of the media? Have you ever organized an event like, say, a wedding and gone through all the stress and hassle of just trying to make simple arrangements? I
Yeah.
assure you, the dark side is alive and well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the answer is in the people who are working on consciousness, those groups is
Mm.
going up and rising. Unless they're in la land. There's a lot
Yeah.
of la land people. And for la land, what I always say is you can live in la land. It's
Mm-hmm.
very easy. Lots of millions do, but you will not die in la land. La land will go away when you
Mm.
die. So
Yeah.
I highly recommend always seeking the highest truth you possibly can. But does that answer the question?
Yeah.
We're nothing, I just was listening to a man for the sea fish or seafood.
Mm.
If you eat one clam, all you're eating is plastic. You're actually ingesting plastic and the chemicals of the plastic. That's how much plastic is in the oceans.
Yeah.
The entire food. Try to envision that for a minute. Just try to envision that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you think, and everyone says, "Oh, we're going to be all love." Oh, my foot, folks. What do you think's happening in the Ukraine with the power? And that's just a warm up. That's just a warm up. The Kali Yuga period ends next year,
Yeah. Oh,
2024.
wow.
Yeah, we're coming up on it fast,
Mm.
very fast. So no, you have pockets,
Mm-hmm.
but the other side has the money, the politics, the people, everything. The
Yeah.
entire United States is on the verge of complete civil war. I know that because I have connections in military and police. everybody's the
Yeah, yeah.
ascending into the twilight zone is not
Yeah, it
on the
seems like
agenda.
the whole Western world right now has been used as a, not to get off topic, but it's been used as a guinea pig. We've been a guinea pig and a trial of implementing these strategies from the dark ones, so to speak,
Yeah, that's what I
and
call them.
it just metastasized worldwide.
And see,
And
they're so sophisticated, eh?
yeah,
You know, like when I like imagine this, folks. I have my frequencies that I can help you, right? And I'm altering your field and your brain so that you're happier and healthier. What do you think they can do with 5G towers? Have you ever, if you want to see something, go into Google, look up the patents
mm,
on mind
yes,
control, all the things they can do. The key, one of the keys that I'm trying to tell people, if you want to be protected, you have to have a strong technology that absolutely stops Wi-Fi. If Wi-Fi cannot enter you, they can't manipulate you.
yeah,
They 5G. You see, remember, um, everything operates by frequency, duration, and intensity of the stimulus.
hmm,
Wi-Fi is 24/7, enormously powerful, utterly concentrated all the time.
yeah. What's a good way? What's this? What's a simple way to protect ourselves from?
That so this is the only product that I like because I saw the living tissue sample experimentation done in Germany. So
Mm,
this thing, it's a container. It's charged for 4 to 6 years. It's made out of copper with wood, and in it, this guy he figured out some kind of a combination with fluid that it radiates electrons.
yeah.
Wi-Fi knocks out electrons, and you and I were made to have a negative charge. What this thing does is this one radiates a field of 8 feet. They have some big units that are very expensive. It'll cover your entire house.
Whoa.
I have a little unit that I carry on my person, and it's the size of a wallet. I put it in my pocket. It radiates 3 feet. Now, what it does is the electrons will glom onto anything that's alive, any kind of a biological system,
Yeah.
and it just sort of coats you. The Wi-Fi cannot penetrate it. Cannot pen. Now, the experiment I saw was done by a third-party biophysicist in Germany who didn't believe it. So his objective was to disprove that technology.
Mm,
And he took 3 tissue samples, and they were all damaged. So they had an inflammatory process active in the tissue.
yeah.
One tissue sample he put beside the telephone, and it was on. Second one he put beside the telephone and also beside the technology. It's called a key shield. And the third tissue sample he put in a Faraday cage.
Mm,
The tissue sample in the Faraday cage healed. Normal healing process. The one with the key shield plus being impacted with Wi-Fi, like right beside each other,
yeah.
it healed, no problem. But the third one, where it was just by the Wi-Fi, it cannot heal because a healing process requires the electrons.
Yeah.
If you don't have enough electrons, it's a biochemical process. You cannot resolve. Why? That's why inflammation these days kills so many people right in the hospital. They fall, break their hip, and they never recover. They
Huh.
should recover, no problem, but
Yeah.
they can't because the hospital is nothing but a giant Wi-Fi field.
Uh-huh.
Wi-Fi destroys everything that's biological.
Mm,
Destroys it. We're not, nothing biological is made to withstand Wi-Fi, but we need Wi-Fi. So my answer and my strong recommendation is you get a. I see guys that are trying to get different kinds of crystals and things, but the problem with that is I asked my admin is very interested in that. The trick with that is how does the crystal protect you from Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Even an arc crystal by Nassim Haramein, the photon jet emission from the arc crystal only fires about that far. I spoke myself to Dr. Brown, William Brown of Taurus Tech, and asked him directly, can an arc crystal, which is, as far as I know, the strongest, most perfect crystal ever developed in the world,
Yeah.
can it block Wi-Fi? He said no. Hold on a second. Yeah, some guy playing the loud radio.
Yeah.
See this thing here. It's radiating in a field. As long as you're inside that field, or if I have that in my pocket,
Hmm.
I'm coded. As long as I'm coded, that system they can't hit you. They
Yeah.
can't do anything to you.
I
But
would definitely like to. Yeah, I'd definitely like to know more about that technology and where to get it, because it might be something I'd like to
what
maybe.
I do is it's not an affiliate program. They don't have it, but on my website, depthhealing.org,
Hmm.
you go to products because there's just a couple of sophisticated things I endorse and I use them myself.
Yeah.
And you go down the products and you'll see that technology. You can order it that way.
Okay. Awesome.
The little one, folks, so you know that little one is always back ordered because it's so popular.
Hmm.
But get on the waiting list. That's because then that way you'll get one.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's always been back ordered. This big boy here that I use, you usually get it within like 3 days. They're very good.
Mm. Okay. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
Wi-Fi. Nowadays we're living in a particular age, and humanity's never been here before. So this is all new stuff, and you have to be savvy
Yeah.
so that you will not be manipulated or destroyed or all so many different things.
And
You
see
have
that
to be
that's
aware.
that's what's intriguing is I'm looking at it. I always look at things outside the box, but it with what we've talked about thus far and looking at humanity in general and in the time and place that we are at right now, it's like we are in the future. We're living in the future. We're in this age of technology that we've never seen humanity before. However, we think we're moving forward and we're progressing and evolving, but at the same time, you have these forces that are keeping us from doing it. That
Yep.
we're evolving and de-evolving at the same time.
Yep.
And like I said, from these technologies of Wi-Fi, knowing that it's destructive, and 5G, as well as what's in our diet, especially in Western society with antibiotics. It's killing our gut health, and
Yeah.
hence is also killing us. So it's
Oh,
like you can't win.
it's very hard. It's very hard to win.
Yeah.
That's why I left that country. See,
Hmm.
over here, you still can win. In
Yeah.
Thailand, you can still win. Um, it's sort of like coming here has been sort of like going back when I was a kid
Yeah.
back in Canada. It's a
Oh yeah.
sort of like that. Um,
But so before we wrap up the show, let our listeners and viewers know where they can find you.
Yeah, I do everything real direct, folks. You just go to my website. He's got it flashing along the bottom there, depthhealing.org, and get a hold of me directly. And then I have a great admin named Johnny, and he's got a depth healing thing, I think, on TikTok now, and then depth healing on Instagram and Facebook. YouTube, I think YouTube took me off. I guess I must have made them mad or something. But
Yeah.
that's all you got to do. Just get a hold of me. And if I may say, we're getting ready for New Year's soon.
Yeah.
New Year's is a massive global morphic field because it's one of those common days that almost everybody has the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So what it means is there's a very coherent, congruent energy. Okay. And if you see me before New Year's is wise, then I'll remove for you all fear, anger, resentment, anxiety, and I just remove it from your nervous system, from your cells, from your mind. And so you start the new year directly. And then pay very close attention. Try to set aside sacred time on January the 15th. January the 15th will be an event on the universal scale. It will never come again. And it is, it had been the target. It's 6 hours long of the divine for shifting the consciousness of the entire world at one time. But there is not enough numbers. They need 81,000. They don't have anywhere near that many.
Yeah.
So, but that period during those 6 hours they call Muhurta in Indian will be the most powerful of all times, period. So you make your I suggest writing out all of your most sacred desires, what you need the divine to give you, and you write it out as a statement, like a thank you letter.
Yeah.
That you have this, that your health is this, that your family's this, that you have that much money, whatever it is, and then you do a mindful, sacred type day that day, because it never come again. The other thing I do as a public service for the divine and you guys is my every month at the full moon, it takes about 30 minutes. I do a process. And this one is your evening. If you're in America, it's your evening of the 27th, my morning of the 28th. So if you go to depthhealing.org and scroll down on the front page, you'll see the event. It's free and it's a collective event. So it has tremendous power.
This is
What you do on that event, you write out, because I want you to have the paper of your prayer. And then we'll do what's called a sankalpa, an intention. You will have your prayer. So it's between you and the divine. And I have an empowerment to ask the divine through my prayer to endorse yours. And because it's a collective, everyone's invited anywhere in the world. It has, the more people there are, the more power there is. Everything works like that.
Yeah.
If you have 3 termites on the ground, they can't do anything. When you have 2 million, 10 million termites, they make architectural structures that defy a lot of our architecture now. The reason for that is the collective of the termites makes a third entity consciousness which guides the construction of the gigantic termite mounds.
Yeah.
That's how that works. Everything goes by numbers. It's a numbers game. Okay? It's a numbers game. Like your body has 50 to 100 trillion cells. Each one of those little cells are formed into tissues. So the tissues have a super consciousness greater than the cells that make the tissue.
Yeah.
And then those tissues will form organs. The organ has the super consciousness of all the tissues together, the organ's consciousness is greater than any of its tissues. Then all those organs go together, they make systems, like your digestive system.
Yeah.
That's a super consciousness. And ultimately, it all goes up in strata, until you have the what the chiropractors call the innate intelligence of the total body temple. And then your consciousness, all of the cells have a receptor site called a self receptor, and your higher consciousness connects to the body temple, which is itself that way. It has the little receptors. Make sense?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Wow.
I hope that helps.
Definitely. And what we'll do is the stuff that'll happen in January. Even though the show isn't until March, I will clip this last part and have this out there before January and before the new
Yeah,
year.
I will post. I'll be posting the exact hours. That type of knowledge is only known to the very highest, most elite mystics.
Yeah.
Other people, they don't know. But that period is massive, enormously powerful. The most powerful.
Yeah.
The most powerful.
Wow.
Yeah. Never come again. So
Never.
And then the Kali Yuga period ends in 2024, and that's why being aware, working on yourself, make your bond with your divine, because we need all of that. The world needs all of that. Because if everything goes to hell in a handbasket, not only do we go down as a race, all of the animals that are all innocent, all of the plants, everything goes. So it's on our shoulders. We created all of this by collective intentions, collective fear, and it's all coming in now like this. So we got to try to do things in an intelligent, conscious way as best we can.
Yeah. Yeah. With love and intention.
Yeah, with love. That's very the highest. See, we have three qualities: the real us, existence, consciousness, and bliss. So, actual consciousness only is bliss. Causeless bliss. That's all it is. It's so beautiful, and that's our innate divine reality. And it's just that we got a lot of junk, and then what they do with all their technology, they're brainwashing you 24/7. That's why it's important to disengage.
Yeah.
If you disengage, they can't keep brainwashing you.
Unplug.
That's right. Unplug. It's the only reason I am who I am. I never in my whole life have been plugged in. I was born that way. That's why I was able to do why I'm doing what I do. I'd never been subjected to the brainwash because I was never plugged in my whole life.
Yeah.
That's it, and now I know why, because this is my work now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Everyone always said that with my dad. Everybody, you got to read the newspaper. You don't know anything. You got to stay informed.
Informed about what? It's like,
Yeah,
what
that's right.
it's like, what do I need to know? I mean, I know how to cook my food. I know how to find water. I know how to, know the basics, and you can survive as long as you want.
Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn's one of my favorite people as a great business mentor. And he has that one talk. He says, my advice, he said, leave the 98%. leave them, leave their thoughts, everything and make a new life.
Yeah.
And I recommend it myself very strongly. If you're listening to programs like this program that he's got here, you're on the right track. If you're watching any kind of like Fox News, you're
Mhm.
you're being completely inundated with pure trash.
Yeah. 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 Propaganda narratives that just stir us in the wrong direction.
Yeah, and you
Create
know what
fear.
what he said earlier. He says the environment is creating us. Remember something. We call it in India. We call it the Vastu. Since we are that, and that is us,
Mm-hmm.
your home and your surround and your friends and everything you do congruent with your core values, and then you will have power, you'll be happier, things will flow, and you won't be living in compromise, which creates resentment and all the lower frequencies.
Yeah.
Select carefully. If you're listening to trash music, look up the biology of what happens to cells exposed to that stuff. Those
Mm-hmm.
are all frequencies that literally configure the cells of your body, the tissue, everything. It's all very deep, but that's why I call my system depth healing. It's not superficial. I hate anything that's superficial.
Heck yeah. Doctor, namaste, my
Thank you.
friend.
Thank
Namaste.
you. Thank you. Ditto.
You're
Namaste.
very
Thank
welcome.
you very much.
And it's an honor to have you back on with us. And welcome back anytime. I mean, we can talk for hours and
Any
hours.
I'd love to. I'd be
And
very happy to come back anytime you want.
definitely,
Seriously.
definitely, I appreciate it. But anyway, thanks again, brother, and thank you again for watching Conscious Radio Network's The Seance. And we will see you. Where the heck's my mouse? There it is. We will see you next week.